Thank you so much, Madam Moderator Tessie Katsambas, to the Chair, Khalil Bitar, Honorable Kabir Hashim, the Chair of the Global Parliamentarians Forum on Evaluation, Ms. Jayathma Wickramanayake, the United Nations Secretary General's Envoy on Youth, Marco Segone, and all my dear UN colleagues, dear friends. I am delighted. I'm delighted to be here with you to kick off the Eval for Action Global Marathon of Engagement. And I especially want to thank Eval Youth Global Network, the Global Parliamentarians Forum on Evaluation, and our own UNFPA Evaluation Office. You've taken the lead and you've brought us to where we are in this decade of action. Action to deliver on the Sustainable Development Goals by 2030. Using robust evaluation systems is going to be so crucial because countries rely on data and evidence. That's what we're using right now to shape the COVID response and our recovery efforts. This culture of evidence-based programming and evaluation that we're espousing today, more important than ever. Because we are in extraordinary times. The Sustainable Development Goals remain the blueprint for achieving a better, more sustainable future for all. And at the same time, the International Conference on Population and Development's Program of Action since 1994 has shown us the way forward. And we are moving forward. There is global consensus that reproductive health and rights are indeed human rights. They're also a cornerstone of the gender equality and women's empowerment movement. Although 25 years have passed since Cairo ICPD, and here we are now 25 years into Beijing, many gains have been made and we need to acknowledge that. We must also acknowledge that there's a lot of unfinished business to remain. And we only have 10 years to meet our deadline for those Sustainable Development Goals. So this decade, action and delivery is taking urgent, ambitious action at the local, national, and regional and global levels. So as we think back on Nairobi and that summit last year, we set the stage for the decade of action to deliver on the SDGs and the 25th anniversary of Beijing World Conference on Women. But it was the road to Nairobi, not just what happened at the summit, but the lead up and now afterwards, that we are galvanizing people around the world to raise our collective voice. We're recommitting to that vision of the Cairo Program of Action. And what is that vision most simply? It's full equality for women and girls and sexual and reproductive health and rights for everyone. So we now have a resulting Nairobi statement on ICPD, and there are 12 overarching global commitments. These all align with the 3 transformative results of 0 unmet need for family planning, 0 preventable maternal deaths, and 0 gender-based violence and harmful practices against women and girls, like female genital mutilation, like child marriage. All of this has to be based on high quality data and evidence. And as we work with governments, partners, with civil society, and young people who feel that fervor and have the smarts to help deliver on these commitments, we're guided by certain key principles. And as we see the protests all over the world today, we know how important they are. Universality, inclusiveness, and equality. That's the heart of the imperative to leave no one behind, recognized in the Nairobi statement that advancing the ICPD Program of Action's promise of universal access to sexual and reproductive health will require innovative and strategic partnerships, foremost with young people who are agents of positive change. It's those youth networks, your leadership in civil society, in local communities, your bravery in trying to engage with new actors, new ideas in the private sector, using South-South and triangular cooperation. In all of these, young people have such a big role to play. We partner at all levels, and what we're doing with Eval for Action dovetails with the Nairobi Statement and the commitments that we made as UNFPA that we will accelerate action and help to strengthen accountability as we monitor those sustainable development goals country by country in the over 150 locations where we work. Amid all of this momentum, here comes COVID and a pandemic. It serves as a stark, tragic reminder of the social and the economic inequalities globally and the effect that inequality has on the most poor, the most marginalized, and typically it's a woman or a girl. So this global health crisis is a human development crisis. It's exacerbated even more in fragile and humanitarian settings. Now, where you have conflict, already there was a baseline of rising cases of gender-based violence. Now we have restricted access. So life-saving sexual and reproductive health services are not as readily available, and this is putting women and girls at even greater risk. It's undermining some of the progress that we would have otherwise made towards the ICPD and SDG goals. So as we respond to this COVID-19 crisis as a world, let our efforts focus on rebuilding a much more equitable and inclusive future, build back better, as the Secretary General has said. And now the sweeping protests are showing us how long overdue much of this work is. For too long, structural discrimination and racism have held back people of African descent, indigenous people, people of other oppressed communities, denying them their fundamental human rights. So to address these long-standing inequities and the systemic barriers to progress, we need our evaluators. You are crucial if we're to leave no one behind. And as COVID deepens inequalities, the pandemic presents a major stumbling block to the achievement of our agenda. So can we please raise our ambition, raise the scale of our action, and not give up? To this end, evaluation can serve as a catalyst. Evaluation can serve as an accelerator to improve accountability and good governance, and to know that policies or programmatic decisions will be informed by credible evidence, by the data, and by the lessons that we share. This, I believe, is going to have the highest multiplier effect on sustainable development. If national evaluation systems don't assess whether development interventions are relevant, sustainable, and achieving the results in an equitable way, then how will marginalized women and girls and young people be able to step forward and lead? Far worse, to be left behind. So strong national evaluation systems, prioritizing equity and gender responsive evaluations, that's crucial. Equity focused and gender responsive evaluations. That's how we're going to get that critical evidence and the roadmap that reduces inequities within and among countries. So that's all part of building back better. I'm excited about this Eval for Action campaign because it comes with excitement. I mean, you know, we heard Khalil already. We're excited about the new possibilities, bringing together parliamentarians, policymakers, civil society, young evaluators in a major global push for national and local decision-making based on good evaluations. It's an all hands on deck moment. In calling for evaluation efforts that promote transparency and accountability, young people have stepped forward and you're leading the way, and I'm thankful for that. I'm really pleased that you have been the driving force behind this Eval for Action initiative. And indeed, Eval Youth, that global network, with partners, I'm told, from 70 organizations, and you're still building your networks around the world, you are showing that young people are leading responsibly. So very, very happy about that. I hope that we continue to support youth-led advocacy. I think it's a wise investment, young evaluators, working with you as partners in the design and in the implementation of evaluation for advocacy. So just to close, let me again reiterate my thanks. I don't want COVID to set our sights anywhere except to 2030. This development proposition is fully a part of what Eval for Action is doing with this campaign. It's expanding public ownership. It's creating stronger linkages between the global goals and evaluation. And it's generating a kind of enthusiasm. As someone who came up as an epidemiologist and had to do those very, very close judgment calls as to what is significant, what is confounding, and what do we set aside. It's a diverse range of stakeholders' perspective that we need to accelerate that evidence-based policymaking. So please open the door and be inclusive. When we're critiqued, let's open our hearts and minds and learn something from it as we keep moving on. So with that, I am proud to virtually launch the decade of evaluation for action. Now more than ever, we need evidence-based policies and decisions to deliver on the Sustainable Development Goals and create a better future for all. Now is the time to keep pushing forward together. Adelante, we move forward. Thank you very much.